Well, hi, my name is Larry Totzke, and this is View from the Pew. And I'm here today with Linda Mensinger. And Linda has been involved in many ministries in Oak Hills Church for a number of years now. But before that, Linda spent, along with her husband Eddie, over 50 years serving in the Central African Republic with Central African people. And Linda, Pastor Jeremy said in his message on Sunday that the Christmas story means different things to different people who are participants in that story. It meant one thing to Mary, it meant another thing to Joseph, and so forth. So here's my question to you as we get started today. What does Christmas mean to the Africans?
Well, it is probably one of the largest celebrations that they have in the year. They love Christmas, and it's all around the coming of Jesus to this earth to bring salvation. And this is a very important thing to the Africans. They haven't had this story for all that length of time, and it's very important to them. They don't give out gifts, they don't have Christmas trees, but they do have a great big feast and usually invite the whole church to come and participate together. And they don't give gifts, but they do like to get a new set of clothes for Christmas. And they begin practicing weeks ahead of time for the pageant, which is always the story of the birth of Jesus. And everything is included, the wise men and the shepherds, of course, Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. And they never leave out Herod, who wanted to know where Jesus was so he could kill him. And they go into a horrible rant and stomp around with Herod saying, you know, I've been deceived and they aren't coming back. It's very entertaining. Our Africans are very good actors, and we wouldn't miss that program for anything. But all of it is centered about Jesus, who they love and have come to know.
Yeah. Now, do they by any chance use live animals in their pageant?
No.
Okay.
And not a live baby either.
Not a live baby?
No.
Okay. But everything else is definitely the way it was. Yeah, that's cool. I think it would be fun to be part of a celebration like that.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. And was that the same throughout the country? Because you were in different parts of the Central African Republic.
Pretty much. They might have a little different twist to it,
sure,
but
yeah.
Pretty much it's the same, yes,
Yeah.
wherever they have it.
Yeah. Did you have trouble adjusting from life in America at the holidays to life in Africa during the holidays?
Well, the first year, yes, because many of our African missionary friends, American missionary friends left and went other places, and we were kind of left there with the Swiss missionaries who did things differently, and
okay.
That was a little hard that year. But after that, we were all together at our station, and we got very used to Christmas in Africa and really missed it when we came home on ministries here.
Yeah, I mean, it was your life for 50 years.
Exactly.
So you kind of build up habits and, you know.
Well, traditions.
Traditions,
too.
yeah, exactly. That's right, yeah. Pastor Jeremy, in his sermon on Sunday, talked mostly about Joseph and how Joseph reacted to the news that Mary was with child. And it totally upset all the plans that he thought that he had, right? He thought he was going to marry Mary, and they were going to start their life together. And then all of a sudden, he finds out that she's pregnant. And he, for a little while, tries to take matters, or wants to take matters into his own hands. And as Jeremy talked about that, he talked about the fact that Joseph's plans were changed. And it really threw him for a loop for a little while. So my question to you is, have you ever had a time when your plans were changed and it really totally changed whatever was going on in your life?
Well, actually several, but one that I could remember, and that was, we were about ready to go on home ministries. It was our first term in Africa when I had an appendicitis attack. And our doctor was there, but he was not a surgeon, but he confirmed that it was appendicitis and said, due to the fact that you have had this and you're now dealing with a very bad parasite, I think you should pack up and go home as quickly as possible. So we began to do that when I had another one. But fortunately enough, a Congolese lady doctor, she wasn't Congolese, she was American, but she worked in Congo, came up and visited the Yaluki station, and she says, you need to get out of here immediately, get to Bangui where they can do surgery if necessary, but we should load you up on antibiotics so we can get you home to America as quickly as possible. Well, the place to go then was going to have to be Michigan, because our mission doctor was there working in a hospital, understood this parasite and could give the treatment. If I had surgery, I would eventually have to, of course, have treatment for this parasite. And so we had planned on adopting a baby. And we had planned on going to California because they had a Christian adoption agency there, and the Garbers had gotten twins from there and had recommended it. So we just thought when we went home we would settle in California and begin trying to adopt a baby. Well, when we had to stay in Michigan, that just kind of all went out the window. We were disappointed. We weren't going to be able to go to California, probably weren't going to get a baby. Well, one day the pastor of Eddie's home church came to visit us, and he said, I hear that you're interested in adopting a baby. He says, you know, the Michigan Children's Aid Society, I'm on the board of that. He said, I could put your name in if you're interested and maybe give a good word. And of course, we were very much in favor of that, which he did. Wasn't long before a caseworker called us, and she had lived in a third world country and knew what the situation was, and she said, I'm all for you. Those kids don't suffer. They have an experience that other kids never have. And so she really was sympathetic, and it wasn't long until she actually came to church one evening to hear our message that we were giving. She says, I have a little girl for you. I want you to come and do a visitation. Well, when we went in to do the visitation, this little girl smiled at us, and that was it. We knew she was the one. And the adoption went through, and we adopted Suzanne Lynn as our daughter, and she has been just a joy in our lives, and the Lord just had her saved for us because she just fit into our family so beautifully and into our ministry, which was so important. Yeah. We could take her out in the bush. She would find a little African friend and play with them, and just fit in and just could roll with the punches, as you might say. So the Lord just gave us the very right one, and she's just been so precious and so wonderful and so great to Eddie and I, and a real light in our lives.
Wow, yeah, what a great story. Now, I have to ask just to make sure, I assume that you recovered from the parasite and the surgery okay?
I did. I had surgery first, and then I had, it was about a month and a half of tartar emetic IV treatments. It was rough. It'd be kind of like taking chemo for cancer.
Oh my, yeah.
And, but I did get rid of the parasite. So. Very thankful for that, because it will eventually kill you if you keep it.
And probably make your life really miserable.
Oh yeah, very sick.
Yeah. Now your daughter, she's, I'm sure, fully grown, and I know you have grandkids now, right?
Well, she has a couple of fully grown kids herself, and so she has given us 4 beautiful granddaughters. We just love to death, and we don't see enough of them because they live in France. She married a Frenchman, but hopefully one will come to visit this summer, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's, what a great story. Just to know that God knew that your plans needed to change because he had plans that were better for you.
He did.
Just as God had plans that were better for Joseph, right? You know, he said, Joseph, no, don't put her away. I have a plan, and you need to be the father of the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had a real role for Joseph to play.
He sure did.
And it's important. So as you think about this passage and think about that role that Joseph played, and you know all the other thoughts you might have about Christmas, what other takeaways do you have that you think are important for us?
Well, first is that God's plan is always the best. I'm not saying we've always followed it. And if we don't, we have gotten ourselves into some entanglements that we wouldn't have gotten into had we followed his plan. So it's definitely true that when we commit our heart and lives to him and follow his plan, his is the best, and he really leads us into the best situation for our lives.
Anything else that stands out?
I'll just end with a verse. It was interesting that Eddie and I discovered after we were dating that we had the same life verse. And that's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path.
Wow. And how appropriate that life verse is for this passage here. It just underlines everything that we've been talking about.
Right.
Linda, thanks so much. It's really good. I'd not heard that story before about how you adopted your daughter and how God led you to that. What a great story. Thanks so much.
Thank you.